I want to call this regular scheduled meeting of the Simpson County Fiscal Court to order. I'm going to ask Magistrate Scott Poston if he would lead us in prayer, and we'll follow that with the pledge to the flag.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we just thank you, Lord, for this day and the many blessings that you have given us in life. Father, we just ask today that you would be with our law enforcement, Father. We just pray that you'd keep them safe, Father. Our first responders, we thank you for these guys and all that they do for us. Father, we just pray that you'll be with us today as we do the business of the county, Father. And we love you and we thank you for loving us. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we're going to try to move on pretty quick this morning. We got a pretty full agenda, but the first thing we have is something that I'm excited to hear about is Ruth Garriott from the Simpson County Animal Shelters with us, and she's got a presentation about the patio, and I said that correctly, not a patio, a patio, that the shelter would like to do. So Ruth, you come up and...
Good morning. I'm Ruth Garriott. For those, I've just met a few of you today. I've been with the Simpson County Animal Shelter since 2004 as Friends of the Shelter president. It started out that I used to come visit you all asking for money. We needed cages, we needed everything. And slowly but surely we're getting there. And so today I want to present to you the patio, which is actually fundraised by Friends of the Shelter and a gift to the shelters, the community, to the shelter animals. So at no cost to the community or the county, other than those who have donated, we would like to do this. The shelter has a front grass area that's really not utilized. Sometimes people come and we'll walk dogs out there. But the shelter is very small. There's 16 kennels if you've been out there. It's not conducive to somebody bringing their pet to introduce them to another pet. It's loud, it's obnoxious, it's small kennels, and it's a threatening environment for a pet that is owned in a home to come to that with all the barking and stuff. This patio is something that would go towards the front. It would be a concrete base, it would be the patio. I brought everybody, even though you have fancy portals, I did bring hard copies to give you an idea. The fencing may change just a little bit based on cost. As everybody knows, construction's gone crazy. So this actually, the quote we just got is about $21,800 with a little bit different fencing, but we've got a 15-day window before prices on lumber could go up. So hence the...
I think they're coming down just a little.
Oh, I hope. I hope, because it'll just allow us to do a little bit more. Anyway, this would give an area away from the shelter. It would be in the area that really isn't used. It's just a beautiful patch of grass sitting there. And it would allow people to bring their pets and be out there. We have people offering to donate benches and kind of decorate it. We're going to do pavers around the outside so it's not mowed up against. And it would just provide a more conducive area for people to bring their pets, to introduce another pet, to sit under there and let a dog run around and not be on a leash. Just gives everybody a better idea. And we're hoping that that will actually improve adoptions. While we have pretty good adoptions, this would be a nicer space. We get a lot of people that they don't want to come into the shelter because they don't know how we do it. Of course, we need people. We need people to come look at animals to adopt. So we're hoping that this space would provide a little bit more. And because the community has been donating for it, it's kind of a sense of pride, we think. So we're very excited to offer this. We just need y'all's blessing.
All we need, and I feel really good about it, I'm glad to see them do it. So all we really need is just a motion and a second to allow them to put this structure on the county property.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Scott Poston and a second by Marty Chandler.
Thank you.
Any other question or discussion, gentlemen?
I'll be happy to submit invoices and stuff too so you can see it's paid for so y'all don't end up with a bill.
Yeah. We believe you, and we know, I think it'd be a big help at the shelter, so I'm glad to see it.
Thank you.
And thank you, everybody there for what you do.
Thank you.
Because there's a lot. I mean,
There is a lot.
you do a good
but
service
we
for the
appreciate
community.
it. We appreciate it.
Yeah. All right, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? I was hoping I wouldn't hear anything on that. Thank you,
Hear
Ruth.
anything anyway.
Do what?
You can't hear anything
I can't
anyway.
hear very well anyway this morning, you're right. All right, gentlemen, if you had an opportunity to review the minutes of our May 24th special call court meeting, we did a motion and a second to approve those minutes as presented.
So move.
Got a motion by Nate.
Second.
Myron. Second by Myron.
Myron, you're gonna have to speak up because I can't hear in this ear.
Second.
All right, it's got a second by Myron. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Next, if you had an opportunity to review the minutes of our May 31st special called court meeting, we need a motion and a second to approve those minutes as presented.
So moved.
Got a motion by Scott and a second by Marty. Any question, discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Next, we have with us, we don't have Chad Kono, we have Michelle Estes, the presentation of the soil conservation fiscal year 22-23 budget. And Michelle says if we don't vote to accept their budget, they can't operate July 1. But the change in it is the fiscal court appropriation of $80,000.
But you all have to approve it, not accept it. You have to approve it.
Approve your budget.
Yes, sir.
Correct.
Okay.
And it went from, our first budget was $90,000, and we understand that you all are going to only approve $80,000. So we had to revise our budget, bring it to you, present it, and then we have to send it to the Division of Conservation as a revision.
All right, so gentlemen, we need a motion and a second to approve the soil conservation's fiscal year 22-23 budget. Got a motion by Myron, second by Scott. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, Michelle.
Appreciate it.
All right, next is a review, approve the second reading and final passage of fiscal year 22-23 budget ordinance number 220.240. And I would need a motion and a second to approve final reading and passage of the fiscal year 22-23 budget.
So moved.
Got a motion by Marty,
Second.
second by, I heard Nate first,
That's fine.
Scott. Second by Nate. Any other question or discussion? Pam, on the ordinance, we'll do a roll call.
Marty Chandler,
Yes.
Nathaniel Downey,
Yes.
Scott Poston,
Yes.
Myron Thurman,
No.
Mason Barnes.
Yes. Gentlemen, also, you've got some papers in front of you. Now that we've passed this budget, there's a couple of items that we need to take action on that are similar to what we do for the sheriff's office and the clerk's office, and that is to set maximum employees and salaries at the jail based on the budget that was just passed. And so you've got a sheet that shows, well, you've got the one sheet that shows the budget workshop, where we were at, and then another sheet that shows how we base that number as we've done that budget, and we worked through that. The jailer was here. So you see there's 39 on here, but what we need is a motion and a second to approve 35 full-time jail employees, regular jail employees, 2 full-time roadside work crew employees, 1 full-time employee that is contracted out to the city of Franklin, and then 1 part-time salary employee at the salaries listed with the 7% raise. So that motion would be to set the maximum salaries based on the fiscal year 22-23 budget and the number of employees based on that, which is 35 regular jail employees, 2 roadside work crew, and 1 to the city, and 1 part-time salary.
So moved.
Got a motion by Marty,
Second.
second by Myron. Any other question or discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. And one other item that we need to take action on Again, this is just simply because it's the way this budget was structured and put together is we just voted, there's one part-time salary, but then there's other part-time hourly employees, and this budget is based on all part-time hourly jail employees set at a $15 an hour rate. So we need a motion and a second to set that rate at $15 an hour for all part-time hourly jail employees.
So moved.
Got a motion by Marty,
Second.
second by Nate. Any other question or discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. All right, gentlemen, if you had an opportunity to review this budget ordinance number 220.241, it's amendment number 10 to fiscal year 21-22 budget. We need a motion and a second to have the second reading and final passage of that ordinance.
So moved.
Motion by Myron,
Second.
second by
Nate.
Nate. Any question or discussion? Pam, on the ordinance, we'll do a roll call.
Myron Thurman,
Yes.
Nathaniel Downey,
Yes.
Marty Chandler,
Yes.
Scott Poston,
Yes.
Mason Barnes.
Yes. Next, if you had an opportunity to review the quotes for jail sprinkler system repair, we just need a motion and a second to approve that estimate. And I'll add to that to authorize the judge to sign any necessary documents. I don't know that anything will need to be signed, but possibly.
So moved.
Motion by Scott,
Second.
second by Nate. Any question or discussion?
Did Bill work with them on this, or?
Yes, he's shaking his head, yes.
Okay, all right. So there's two values on here. Is that both of them together, like a little over $10,000 or almost 11?
No, it's a 5144.
Okay,
Yeah.
About $600 less than that.
okay, all right.
Yeah. Any other question or discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next gentleman today, we have with us Chris Spur, and we're going to bring him up, and is Neil coming with you? Just, if need be. This is to have discussion. We had talked about having some design services for a county clerk PVA building, and Chris with Spur Architectural had presented us with some information and a proposal, and so he's here to answer any questions. If you have any questions, we've talked about this ARPA funding and what we can do, and we're getting to the point that if we're going to do something of this nature, I mean, we're going to have to get on with it because we're up against some deadlines that we've got to have stuff signed. So I don't know if do y'all have questions, or do you want
Chris, have you guys designed new structures?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And you primarily work with local government entities.
Yes.
That's your primary focus.
Most of our focus is local city, county governments, industrial. We do some hospitality, quite a bit of restaurant work. So I would say we're half, new construction, half existing renovations, fit-ups, things of that nature. Do a lot of work in Hopkinsville, Christian County area, Bowling Green area, Fulton, do some school work in Fulton, work up in Paducah. I've done some work in Tennessee, so we've been fortunate to be spread around the area quite a bit to do a lot of different types of work.
And in your proposal, and I mean, of course, I've met with you and we've had this discussion, but for the benefit of the gentleman here, in your proposal, you would go through and talk with the people in the clerk's office, in the PVA office, get
That's
a feel
correct.
for what they have that works.
Yes, sir.
Get a feel for what they have that doesn't work, that needs to be changed. And then once we get proposals together, we could make tweaks to those.
That's right.
to make it fit and work like what it needs to be.
Our initial process would be to sit down and do what we call a programming stage, where we program each room, square footage, meet with the people who will be using the space now and potentially what the future of that space will look like. try to get all that worked out spatially, square footages, you know, like you said, if you need more storage, where does that go? You know, if that's adjacent to an office or things of that nature, and then we would go through that and then put that into a plan, present it to you all, and so, you know, based on our meetings in the programming stage, this is our floor plan we've come up with, you know, let's walk through that, and give you a chance to make comments, changes, things of that nature. And like I said, in that meeting, we had, you know, however many meetings that takes. If it's 2 meetings, great. If it's 10 meetings, that's perfectly fine too. Whatever it takes to assure you all at the end of the day that you're going to get a facility that, you know, will be programmed correctly to your needs for the PVA and clerk's office.
And y'all help with the entire bidding process for
Yes,
all
sir.
of the construction work?
Right. We've included all the, we'll do a geotech report, and then we'll do a survey, consolidation plat, then we'll do a topographic survey, site civil, utility, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, structural engineering, architectural design, and then we'll put together a set of bidding documents, specifications, help you all in the bidding process, advertising, evaluating those bids, opening the bids, suggesting to you all who the best contractor for the project would be, and go into negotiation with you all and with that contractor, and then also doing monthly meetings once the project starts to be on site, at least monthly, if not maybe twice a month, depending on what we feel like's a need with you all. But yeah, we would do a monthly meeting there at least until they hand you the keys and turn the project over to you. And then typically we do a follow-up a year later and come in and say, you know, how's the space working? You know, is there anything you would change or anything like that, and kind of do an analysis on the built structure after, about a year after, to make sure.
So in your fee, you're involved in this process all the way through the
Yes, sir.
build?
Yes, sir.
Kind of ensuring that the contractors are doing what they've bid to do?
That's correct.
That sort of thing?
And they'll submit pay applications to us. We'll approve those after those on-site meetings to assure that, you know, what you're being billed for is either built or is stored on-site or is stored in a facility. You know, sometimes they want to order materials ahead of time, especially with the nature we're in now. So what we do is we request, you know, pictures of that and then insurance to make sure that's covered. And then we approve that for you all to pay that pay application.
Now, in your professional opinion of projects kind of similar to this, what do you anticipate the construction cost for a facility like this to be? And I know you we've been there, I know you can't tell us, but just kind of a range of.
You know, we're hoping it'd be in the 250, 275 a square foot maybe, but it's hard to say. You know, once we will do an analysis on that once we get to what we call the design development stage. Excuse me. We'll take the plans and everything that's going into it and kind of do a budget for you. And so we'll keep a budget going as we go through the project. And sure, we're on track. At the end of the day, the money appropriated for this building.
And a project of this scope, typically what, 12 to 16 months from start to finish? And probably the wait time, if you were to bid it today, it would probably be fall before anyone could start. I mean, the chances that you bid today and someone's ready to start next month is pretty slim.
Yeah, I don't know that you would find that, and I'm not. If they are, I'm not sure.
Yeah, if they can, we probably don't want them out there.
That's right.
True.
Yeah, everybody's very busy. Materials are, you know, fluctuating all over the place, cost and availability. So, you know, we're working with the elevator company for a library renovation, and the elevators that we use in, you know, 2 floors, 3 floors around this area aren't being affected by this, but they were saying in their larger cities that they can't get product for a year to even start building those because they're sitting out on a ship, you know, out in the ocean somewhere.
Well, that's one of the questions that I know one of the magistrates had, and I've also had a couple people in the community. What is the cost difference between a single-story building and a 2-story building?
At this size, it's not going to, I mean, it may be a little bit cheaper to do a two-story, but I don't know if you'll see it across the board. What we're looking at on this one mainly is.
Did you say maybe a little cheaper for the two-story?
It depends.
Okay.
You know, efficiency-wise, initial project cost, you may not see a big fluctuation. You know, efficiency-wise, you may see, you know, it paying for itself a little bit over time. But for this project, what we're really looking at is the ordinance for parking. You're required 30 parking spaces for a 9,000 square foot building. And with the little site plan we've been able to produce, we show 32.
Well, I mean, we have another lot that.
That's right.
That
That was
could be
talked about in the
utilized, so.
meeting, and we could look at that and see how much of that's appropriated to the Justice Center, I believe, that's what that's used for.
Well,
And-
one part of it is.
Yes,
Yeah.
and so we could see how that would balance out if it's desirable to look at a single-story building. I know that's been mentioned, but, you know, a two-story building, we felt for that site and the impervious that we're going to be adding to that site, you know, we got to do a little bit with the stormwater to assure that we take that water where it needs to go. And, you know, the more you develop a roof over a structure, you've got to do something with the water.
Right.
And so.
The only other thing, we were talking about building that lot, the building is sitting right up by East Kentucky. I envisioned it flipped around and have the building back towards the other building and the parking lot between this building and the Justice Center.
Yeah.
So would mirror that? Just kind of mirror that?
Yeah, that's why I envisioned
Yeah,
it.
That's
I
fine.
think we would envision the back of the building.
Sure. Up against
facing
the-
north.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, we could definitely, this is just initial layout that the civil engineer, Jeff Arnold, put
I
together.
just think it would look better to have all the parking out in front of it.
Yes,
Yes.
out on
And
Kentucky.
on the Kentucky
So when you
Street.
pull up to the intersection, you could see the buildings.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could definitely look at that, best placement for the building. And, you know, if it's your desire to look at the difference between a single and a two-story, I mean, that's analysis we can look at too, based on parking ordinance, stormwater runoff.
Okay.
But at that size of building, I think it come down more to efficiency to go two-story. And, you know, I don't know if the cost will really outweigh one over the other because of the size of it. You know, if we're talking about a 20,000 square foot building, sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Gentlemen, any other questions? I mean, this is something that the clerk's office has been discussed since the day all of us started. I mean, Marty was here prior to us, but the four of us, it's been talked about since that day that we all started back in 2019. We're probably never going to have another opportunity to do this without issuing a bond. This will be a service and a facility that this community would use 40, 50, 60 years down the road.
Well, I've got another option that I would like to throw out to the guys this morning, and that's like a community center at the park with our ARPA money. You can call it a community center, a gymnasium, a senior center. I think that would be something that we could spend this money on that would probably touch everybody in the county, myself. And I would like to get maybe some dollar figures on that and see where we're at on that before I would do this. That's just my opinion.
I understand. I don't disagree that it would be nice, but I've always been more of a necessities before wants kind of guy. I mean,
Well, I'm not sure that's a necessity. I think we've been needing this a long time. And the way the community's growing, whether we want it to grow or not, you know, it's growing. And when people come through and they look at your park system, I mean, I just think that's something that's missing that I would like to see done. But that's just my opinion.
Well, in talking to our past clerk, county clerk, probably our building now is according to her, now she's worked there 37 years, it's in better shape now than it's been the last 20 years, thanks to past fiscal courts and also this court. And I've had a few conversations with our maintenance director concerning roofs and things of that nature. I'm not convinced that we'll have to build a clerk's office somewhere down the road. We're going to have to do that. There's no doubt about that. I'm not convinced that we need a 9,000 square foot building, because currently, right now, our clerk that's in office now is not doing the electronic, what do you call this?
E-file.
E-file, they're not doing that. So our space is going to actually, according to our past clerk, our needs for space is actually going to shrink to a point. Now, I've been in the construction business for 40-something years, and I shy away from anything that has an elevator, because that's maintenance from here on out. They're not maintenance free. I would like to see a single-story building there, if possible. I can't tell you the square footage they need. They got, what, 5,000 feet now, Bill, give or take? 5,600. We do need to provide ample space for the future, there's no doubt about that. But our filing system is going to shrink, and that takes up a lot of real estate there at that office now, just the way that they... I'm kind of leaning with Scott on this right here. I'm not ready to make a decision today. I just need to weigh this out. Now, when we talked about this, about a month ago, fiscal court meeting, first thing come up in mind was price. Well, there wasn't anything talked about money at that particular time. And at that amount of money, not knocking anybody, but $110,000, I'd probably like to get another figure from somewhere else. That's a lot of money for design. Not to say that we have to or not.
Well, I mean, I guess we could if you wanted to. We're not obligated to because of professional services.
Got you. But we are obligated in all other service, anything over 30 grand, we're obligated. And
In items purchased.
yes. So I'm just not ready to make a decision today after hearing Scott. I have polled a few people out here concerning clerk's office versus something at our community park, and it's hands down. If you poll people, it's hands down about a building at the park.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like if you said, hey, you want chocolate ice cream or you want broccoli, they're going to take chocolate ice cream.
Yeah.
I mean,
Here's the thing, we just got through with the election, and I ran on doing things at the park. But our parks director here is fixing to come up with a master plan, to do that. Her thing was, they don't know exactly where they can build at the park, because it used to be the dump and things of that nature. I also ran on, I would like to see a new clerk's building, PVA building. But the time constraint we're under, we have to have this bid by 2024, and we have to have it spent by 2026.
That's true.
And if we keep delaying and delaying, we're not going to get a clerk's building or anything at the park.
Yeah, what we're going to get to do is hand $2 billion back to the federal government.
Exactly. So, I mean,
That won't be.
I would like to proceed forward with this, but I'm not going to vote fiscal court. I mean, I'll be with the majority of the court, but in my personal opinion, I would like to move forward with this project. And I mean, we can look at a single story or a two-story and things of that nature, and we can still look at doing something at the park too, but the park is, I wouldn't mind even issuing a bond to build something at the park, but we need to get this ARPA money spent. If we don't spend it, we lose it. And so I don't see why we really couldn't do both over a period of about a 4-year period, so I'm not opposed to your idea at all, Scott, about doing something at the park. I think it's something that needs to be done, but I believe that's something that could be fit into the master plan, and maybe we could issue a bond or something and build a building out there like you're talking about, if it fits in their needs and all.
Yeah, and I agree with Marty. I don't think the two are mutually exclusive. I don't think it's like we gotta do one or the other. But I think if we're doing one to tie to the ARPA money, I'm just be honest with you, I'm ready to proceed with this today. I'm ready to say, let's get this ball rolling, or we're gonna be in a mess down the road. Like Marty said, we could end up having to give the $2 million back to the federal government, and then we've done nothing for Simpson County.
I mean, we could find a place to spend the $2 million, but it would be something that we wouldn't, it wouldn't be for a capital project. That would be a yearly investment, or not a yearly investment, but a long-term investment in the community, and something that will be there for years.
But I agree, if we're gonna bond, if you're, and Myron, you even said yourself, you think we're gonna have to do it at some time. We said that in 2019. 3 years later, we're saying it's still, you know.
And we also say that about the park.
True.
We've constantly said, we need to do this stuff at the park, we need this, we need that. And it's time to pull the trigger, I think, we've got a timeline. So, I mean, that's,
But I think if we're gonna bond one or the other, I'll agree with Marty. I think we would come better bonding work done at the park. And let Lisa do her job as a director and present to us what they need, rather than us saying, hey, let's build this. They might not even be able to do it.
Because I know she's been talking about that new ag, the ag building is not in good shape. So that could be something, take a building that could replace that and do that. But that would be in their master plan that they could bring to us to vote on.
With this proposed thing, is there like a time frame with it being proposed as you have it now?
As in,
Like a limit for us to be able to,
No, sir.
it ain't, okay.
You know that, Mr. Thurman, to your comment, that 9,000 square feet, we may see that it is smaller than that, once we do the programming stage and go through and interview the people. So that's not a hard set number. They thought that was a maximum number just for something for us to kind of go off of in this initial process. So.
We just looked at, if you're looking at, just under 6,000 square foot of space, and you're gonna build something that's gonna accommodate the needs for the next 40 or 50 years, I mean, if you got a 5,600 square foot building, why would you build a 6,200 square foot building?
Well, I didn't say that,
Right, I mean,
just,
but you see what I'm saying?
you know.
have to do the analysis to see what size it really.
we're gonna do a survey, but our current clerk doesn't even do e-files, so I mean, you gotta take that in consideration. If you've been in that building, that takes up quite a bit of real estate in that building.
You keep saying e-file, like.
Keeping their files electronically rather than on paper.
But is the clerk gonna be obligated to keep some stuff paper-wise? Like, we're obligated to keep certain things paper.
The short answer to your question, Judge, pardon my interruption, is yes. There will be certain things that they will have to keep hard copies of. Now, granted, Myron's also right that a lot of stuff they're trying to convert more and more, but this is your all's decision, not mine, but as a guy who has used the clerk's office for 9 to 30 years off and on, anything else, it's not, their needs are not going to diminish over time. And so even with the electronic filing, I think you're going to need to make provisions for them to be able to grow as our community grows. That's just based on my dealings with the court system, my dealings with the clerk's office, the governmental stuff. I'm not a big fan of government overreaching and overpowered and involved in everything, but the truth of the matter is that's the way of the world. And I'm just saying, you're right, absolutely right, but
There's certain things that's so old that you can't go over and take pictures of. You can't do it. It'll just.
and so I'm just saying, you're going to have to make, just common sense, you're going to have to make some provisions for growth if you're going to have a building you're intending to last more than 10 or 20 years.
Yeah.
That's just, but I'm just saying, you're right, but you're right as well.
And
They're not mutually exclusive.
Right, and don't misunderstand what I'm saying, Scott. I'm not disagreeing with.
I'm not, and I'm not disagreeing with y'all either. but I just want to make sure
I'm
that.
just saying, from my perspective of having to be here day in and day out and run the day-to-day operation of what's going on in the county, my opinion is that this money would be better spent on this project, and we would take other funds to work projects at the park and work that through the Parks Director and go that route. That's
One of the biggest complaints about our clerk office is the parking to get into it and everything. Parking right there on the square, and this would provide better access for people using the building if you had that parking lot right out front. But we won't know unless we do something, unless we get hired, either this firm or another firm, to let us know on this, because none of us sitting up here, I don't think all of us, none of us are qualified to do the engineering studies and all that, so we'll have to hire a firm to do it. And it would be, you're gonna have to hire a firm. I don't see hiring a firm to do the same project at the park is gonna be any cheaper than doing this building. So, we're gonna, whatever the court chooses, I guess we can just take a vote and find out. But that's, I'm ready to proceed forward with this here today too, to find out if it is more cost effective to do a single story or two-story, and let them meet and see if we need 7,500 instead of 9,000 square feet, and get a cost together, because we're sitting there talking about, we don't even know how much it's going to cost for sure.
That's true. Bill?
Not a big thing, but I want to clear it up about the parking. The AOC parking lot down there, which will be directly across the building, is posted for AOC patrons only. And that was ordered by the state. It's been posted, I posted on both entries. So we cannot figure that into the parking area. I know it's going to be convenient. We don't have parking police down there, and we've had to do that because of some of the businesses on the square were using it, and because of liability and everything, that must be taken off the.
But for calculation purposes, we can't use that space.
Right, the great big parking lot, of course, belongs to the county, but the one south of ours is AOC, the one that's north of the building is AOC, and they are posted for.
Lisa, you were wanting to say something about the park.
No.
We just happen to have the Parks Director here with us today.
And to talk about a master plan, and you were correct, but y'all can go into that till my time. But, one, I'm excited to even hear that there's a conversation of a center being discussed with Fiscal Court. That is something that our community needed, and for over 20 years, they have stated that they needed it. You will recall about 18 to 20 years ago, our community was trying to get a YMCA. At that time at the park, we tried to get that driving force to consider a community center at the park, but they were dead set on YMCA, which that did not come to fruition, but we did get a magnificent Boys and Girls Club. Wonderful facility, but it accommodates a certain age group. And right now with our aging community, we have nowhere for them to do activities. We have no meeting space. Yes, we're limited on where we can build at the park, and that's what this master plan will tell us. Can we utilize that back entrance more? Can we utilize that front entrance? And just as his company does, what this company does is come in and tells us, these are the best places for your traffic plan, your pedestrian. So, yes, even if that is not what is done with the ARPA money, I'm excited to know that you're considering bonding to do that, because that is something.
And I don't want to cut you off there, but I'll interject one thing that that just made me think of something else there too. And I'm not saying they have to do this, but, I think we really need to be looking at something that we're obligated to and we're solely responsible for. If we talk about doing $1 million or $2 million or whatever project with the park, I think we need to be working hand in hand with the city.
I agree.
To help put that together. I
don't disagree with that.
Which will kind of cut our costs in half, would make that a lot easier to bond.
Exactly.
And then go ahead and do the things that we're solely responsible for with this money that we have. So again, I say, I don't disagree with you, and I would be all for doing something at the park. Let Lisa get it worked out. Let's get together with the city and talk about it. But I want to go back, well, I said it to begin with, Marty said, I feel like we need to get to moving on this, or we're going to end up sending this money back to the federal government. Because we're probably one of a handful of counties that haven't obligated this ARPA money yet.
We'll find a way, like Marty said, we can spend the money.
Yeah, but
We're not sending
we
the
don't
money
just need
back.
to be trying to find a way just to get rid of it.
I think we got ways.
We need to do we need to do something that's worthwhile for the community.
Like I
That's
said,
right.
we won't send the money back, but we won't have something that we can show for 40 or 50 years from now.
Right.
Like we will with this project.
Right.
So with that being said, I'm going to make a motion that we proceed with this proposal with the Spur Architecture firm to get us the information together on a new clerk and PVA building.
I'll second the motion. I guess I'm allowed to second. All right, any other question or discussion? And I'll say again, before we vote, gentlemen, I agree, Scott, I completely agree. I think we need to do something. And I'm all for it, and I think we can. But I think this needs to happen.
Well, and I agree and I disagree with you, but I'm probably going to vote no on this just because I would like to get some input from the city and maybe some numbers, but maybe the next meeting I would be more willing to, but that's where I'm going to be at.
All right, well, we got a motion and a second. We'll take a
We
vote.
better have a roll call on
Yeah, we can roll call it.
it. Because it's not going to be majority or unanimous.
That would be my suggestion.
It's not going to be unanimous.
Marty Chandler,
Yes.
Mason Barnes,
Yes.
Scott Poston,
No.
Myron Thurman,
No.
Nathaniel Downey,
No.
Chris, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to waste your time this morning. Maybe we'll circle back. Oh, goodness gracious alive. All right. Lisa, did you want to present some stuff today? Because I don't have you on the agenda, but if you... Okay, well, it's open agenda. You come on, then we'll move to our next...
It's on the portal.
It's on the portal, so you come on. I should have brought you up front, I guess.
Well, thank you all for allowing me to be here. And again, like I said, I'm excited that you all are at least discussing whether it comes through the ARPA money, through bonding, however improvements happen for our community, because it's not for me, it's for the community. And it is improvement of quality of life for our citizens. So what you have in your portal today is a quote from Los Designs to complete a master plan for Jim Roberts Community Park. We already have one for Lincoln through the Reach Association, so that park is not included. But currently, we operate 3 parks. We have Jim Roberts Community Park, which is approximately 200 acres, Lincoln Park, which is approximately 13 acres, and Bradley Park on Breckenridge Street, which is about 1 acre. So there has never been a master park completed for Jim Roberts Community Park. The last scope of work to propose to have a master plan was in 1998. So we've done great things with our park. We have a lot of good things there, but some of those things have created issues because, as we've said, we're on a landfill. So if Marty came out and Marty wanted to build a ball field, we have a flat spot. Marty, you can build your field here. Nate comes out and wants to build a ball field. Well, Nate, this is not landfill. You can build here. This has created some issues, not only with pedestrians, but also with vehicular traffic, as you all are aware, because I think it's been 2 years ago, 3 years ago, that you all approved for the gravel lot to alleviate some of the traffic issues down where there are actually 5 fields, 3 ball fields, 2 soccer fields, and that's great. But those have created other problems. It still didn't direct our pedestrian traffic. We have drainage issues to where we had to close a walking trail because of erosion. So if we'd had a master plan that kind of looked at this design to tell us where these things needed to go as they were being built, we wouldn't have those issues. Also, master plans are very instrumental if we're going to apply for grants. Most of our federal grants require that we have a plan in place to apply for those matching grants. So the total I'm asking for, and this is a big ask, but it is $72,000 to complete the master plan. Now, I'm coming to you all today. I will be addressing City Commission on June 13th and asking for their assistance as well. So it's not just on one agency. What this does is it allows Los Design to come in, and you all saw that in your portal in the packet, and a lot like this gentleman does, they do a lot of the same things. They come in, they look at the layout, they look at what we have. I had already told them some things that we were looking at because Bob is wanting to do emergency shelters. So we have 2 or 3 of those coming in. We have a group that's wanting to construct a 5K walking trail. We're wanting to do the dog park in fiscal year 22-23. Pickleball courts, which that will go on the basketball courts. People are invested in our parks. They're wanting to improve our parks, but we need to know where to put these things so that, again, we can alleviate those issues. And with that landfill, we're limited on that space. So they'll come in, address that. They also do community input to see what the community would like to see. I mean, I know what I would like to see, but that doesn't mean that's what the community would like to see. Also, they address like what types of programs the community would like to see. Like I said, we know pickleball is huge. Wiffle ball is growing. I mean, there are all kinds of different things that are growing, so do we have those facilities for that? Also, we're wanting to, like I said, we have 3 parks under the direction of Franklin Simpson Parks and Rec. But sometimes people think each park is operated independently, so we want to have that cohesiveness, and Lincoln already has that master plan. So how do we want our parks to look? How do we want our shelters to look? How do we want our ball fields to look?
Did you say Lincoln already has a master plan?
Lincoln has a master plan that was conducted.
What did that plan cost?
Well, that was only for 7 acres. Hold on a second, I'll tell you. That master plan for 7 acres, and we're talking 200. So that's 7 acres, hang on.
50 cents per thing.
And master plans are not inexpensive, just like any plans for any development. I've got several documents here. It was almost $4,000, $5,000 for the master plan. Now they're in the process of raising the funds for the construction plans, which are like $50,000. So, also that master plan did not hold public meetings to see what they wanted at that park. They did not conduct public meetings.
Do you have any anticipation on what cost will be that will come out of this master plan to do whatever? What do you, do you have any anticipation at all?
No, because it's going to depend on what people want. If they want a community center, which we're talking about, that's going to depend on how large that is, and that's going to be in the millions. I mean, if you're going to build 1 or 2 basketball courts with meeting rooms, but as we said during the budget meeting, the ag building is going to need to be replaced at some point in time. I mean, that building was built in the 70s. It does get utilized. It's not utilized at full capacity because it's not what people need. I mean, it's either too large of a space for a meeting space, or it's just not in a location where they need it. But, even if you look at First Baptist Church or look at the Boys and Girls Club, something along that line for phase 1, because this thing can be phased out, and that's how Lincoln Park is phased. It's 3 phases. It's a total of $3.2 million. So, but this master plan will give you that estimated cost of what everything that's included in it would be. So for Lincoln, total cost $3.2 million. that's based on national average. Now we can shop cheaper or we can shop more expensive depending on design of shelters, amphitheaters, things like that. But this master plan would provide those costs, Mason, or estimated cost. Trying to think. You know, right now, yes, we are getting additional funding from Kentucky Downs, $150,000 a year for 20 years. I think that's supposed to be starting here soon. The Parks Board has voted to dedicate that to capital improvements. Probably this first year, it's going to be capital improvements on things that have set to the wayside for a while and need repairs, demolition, rebuilding. So as we do that, we want to make sure we're following a plan to have that. We need a roadmap. That's basically what a master plan is. It's a long-range plan telling us where we want to go in the future for our park system.
So over that 20 years, you'll essentially get about $3 million from Kentucky Downs.
Yes.
Would you be able to bond projects off of that revenue?
I don't know. I mean, we'd have to look into it. I mean, it's revenue being donated to us and straight to us.
Is that going to be guaranteed revenue?
It is not, well, let me rephrase this. Yes.
Yes.
Wait, but let me rephrase it. They are stating that it's $150,000 for 20 years. Of course, we know things can change. So we're hoping that it stays for that 20 years. But we're not basing that as a steady source of income because, again, in the business world, things can change.
I'd say the only way you could use that to bond is if it was in writing.
Well, there is an agreement signed with the Downs. And in fact, they're doing more than the 100. There's other entities getting money every year for the 20-year
Well,
period.
like,
I
if
don't
it's in
see,
writing,
I don't see gambling slacking off.
If it's in writing, I can see you could use it to fund project, to help bond projects.
Have you received any funding yet?
Now, to date, we have not, and we have not signed our agreement yet. So,
But I think it's supposed to occur in this next fiscal year.
yes. So, yeah, that's my understanding. Like I said, we're using it for capital improvement because,
Maybe we should have had that information before you
Maybe
voted.
we should.
yeah.
You want to go back and vote again?
Well, unless there's something in writing, it wouldn't be prudent to spend that amount of money unless it's,
Let's just say Myron, I was at that meeting, it's going to happen.
yeah.
Okay.
But they haven't received it. Lisa, I talked to Lisa about this, was it yesterday or the day before?
A couple of days ago.
Yeah, a couple of days. And she was talking about the funding of this, and she was saying that they could use some of that money if they got it to help with this, but they don't have it. And so if we're funding the park anyway, and the money that we're funding the park with, and the city's funding the park with, is for their expenses and the stuff they're using. In my opinion, if we were going to do this, we would just pay for half of it and the city pay for half of it and do it instead of asking them to pull out their money that we've already allocated them, that they've got pretty much obligated to all their other expenses.
You're talking about for this plan?
For this plan
Yes.
right here. And now if they were getting the money from the Downs or the Mint, like they're going to get, if they had started receiving that, they could take part of that and help pay for this, but they haven't received it yet. So, you know, they'll have places to spend that in the next phase.
Well, I think though, the money that the Downs is doing is going to be obligated to capital expenditures.
That's what we told them that we would do,
I don't
yes.
think they could even use it to do this plan.
Okay.
But they could do it, they could use it to, if the plan said we're going to build this building, then yes, you could put that money there.
The only thing I'd like to see changed in here is there's the language says
Yeah.
information be shared with the city. And
Yeah,
it
it
doesn't say
needs
anything
to be
about the
Parks,
county.
it needs to be Parks Board, yeah, they're just so used to working with city entities that was probably just an oversight when they
Okay.
did the format. And again, I know the city's working on a plan, I know, Mason, you all are working on a comprehensive plan, and Los Designs will work with both agencies to make sure this aligns with what your plans are.
So what do you need today? You need $36,000
I need
pending the
$36,000.
city's willingness to give $36,000?
Absolutely. Yes, I need half of the 72,000, yes, correct.
Well, I'm gonna make that motion too, contingent upon the city paying the 36,000.
I'll second that one too while I'm in the mood of second motion. Let's see if this one will pass. I shouldn't have said that like that.
Probably not.
Ooh, I wish you'd have let me go first. No, I'm just kidding.
So do I.
All in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you all, and
Thank you,
again,
Lisa.
thank you for all your support for the parks, not only financially, but staff-wise as well. Thank you.
Now, this is a serious question. I'm going back to our previous. Tell me exactly what you guys want to see before, because I don't want to come back to another meeting and
And not
talk
have
about
anything.
this, and just talk about it, talk about it, talk about it. And I should have had her go first, because the Downs they're making a pretty big investment, not just in the park, but in several other 501c entities in the community. And it's going to be,
That's true if all that
it's going to
holds
be.
true for 20 years.
It's going to be a contract.
I would like to kind of get numbers for like a square footage. And I've talked with Warren County, some fiscal court members,
Numbers for square footage of what?
for the building for like the community center. I mean, I'm sure it would be different than what that would be. And I did get some rough numbers for like, I guess, industrial style building, what that could be a square foot. But, and two, I'd like to see what the city, where they're at as far as, are they on board with building this or not?
With the park. to
With
help-
the park,
to
yes,
help
sir.
with the park.
Yes, sir.
Once again, I'm not disagreeing with you, but I think I could very easily see that be 5 or 6 months, getting all that together. Because if they're gonna ask for input from the community and they're gonna,
Could be a year.
if you take 6 months from now and then, all I'm saying is,
Willing to wait that long, but if we could, I'm just talking about the informal,
Because,
with the
I
city,
mean-
hey, where would y'all be on this?
we're to, end of 2024, isn't it, that we have to have it all done?
Have we
We got about 18
received,
months to get something signed.
have we received that second payment of our ARPA money yet?
Not yet. It
Not
should be
yet.
here, I think, in this week.
It's supposed to be here
We've already
this week or
submitted
by the
for it.
18th.
Well, we've submitted for it. I've heard some counties saying that they're getting it, they contacted Treasury and they're getting it this week. So I would say between this week or next week, we've submitted it
I
for it,
don't know
so
why I have June 18th in my mind. Is that when we received the first payment?
maybe we might be.
Because we're supposed to get the next
Year
one
later.
within 12 months of the first payment. Okay. All right. Gentlemen, y'all remember we discussed the Grace Road situation, and so my understanding from the discussion was that the court was willing to agree to allow the city to annex that portion of Grace Road. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So that information hasn't changed. All we need is a motion and a second to allow the annexation of Grace Road and authorize the county judge to sign that consent to annexation.
Motion made.
Got a motion by Marty and a second by Nate. Any other question or discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Next is the Summer Vibes, Renaissance and Tourism done the Summer Vibes concert last August. They're doing another one again this year. I think it's the fourth Saturday in August. Looking for $1,000, $2,500, and $5,000 sponsors. And the request was made to see if the county would be willing to be a sponsor at any of those levels.
I'd make a motion at $1,000.
So we got a motion by Myron to be a $1,000 sponsor for the Summer Vibes Festival.
Second.
Second by Scott. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. And then next, and I guess, looking at this, maybe we have to do these individually. Council, is that right? Or can we do them collectively since there's no change in approving the renewal of our employee benefits, health plan, dental plan, the McGregor secondary insurance, and the air evac? There's no cost change or no change in policy to any of these.
I think you can probably do one, just renewing all of them.
Okay, so we need a motion and a second to approve the renewal of the employee benefits and health plan, the employee dental plan, the secondary insurance through McGregor, and the air evac at no change. And I guess authorize the judge to sign any papers or documents that are necessary.
So moved.
Motion by Scott,
Second.
second by Nate. Any other question or discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. If you had an opportunity to review the budget transfers, we need a motion and a second to approve those.
Update.
We got a couple more things on there.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to add, I'm working on the park stuff right now to make sure this 36,000 is gonna, I'm gonna have to get it moved to the park, so.
Do we need to do
Do you want us to jump down to the next
Yeah,
one?
keep jumping around.
Okay.
do we need to do the county clerk claim calculation and the employee resolution? It's on the portal.
It's on the portal.
Yeah, we can go on down to cash transfers, bills and claims and all that, and then come
No.
back to the budget transfers.
I'm talking about the county clerk figure that,
Yeah, it's down under the financial stuff.
oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. So next would be a cash transfer of $3,124.81 from the federal grant fund to the general fund. This is HIDA money coming in.
So,
Got a motion by Marty, second by Myron to approve that cash transfer. Any question, discussion? All in favor, aye.
aye.
Any opposed? Next, if you had an opportunity to review the bills and claims, we need a motion and a second to approve the claims as presented.
So move.
Motion by Nate,
Second.
second by Myron. Any question or discussion about the claims? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Now then, the county clerk's claim for calculation of motor vehicle and boat bills for 2022, and this is money due back to the clerk from the fiscal court, and their calculation was on 23,628 vehicles, I think at a cost of 15 cents refunded, which is $3,544.20 that has to be sent back to the clerk. How does that work?
It's the
So
county's responsibility
Yeah.
for,
Second.
Marty and
We had a
Nate.
motion by Marty and a
Marty and
second
Nate.
by Nate. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Then, gentlemen, if you had an opportunity to review our May 31st, 2022 financial statement, we need a motion and a second to approve that statement subject to audit and authorize the county clerk and the county judge to sign it.
So move.
Got a motion by Nate, second by Scott. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
okay.
We're good.
Approve the budget transfers, but also to include 5,000 coming from county fair line item to the park line item, 5,000 that we had budgeted for the Ditmore, Ditmore property crushed stone, for that one to the park. 12,300 from just transfer reserve to the park, and 13,700 from Homeland Security to the park that we had line item. So,
Did y'all catch all of those?
Sure. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. So in addition to the,
And
But-
I mean, you don't have to name them all off. I'll have a new budget transfers sheet that will be passed on to Pam, but we have verbally
Okay.
discussed it, so.
Marty made the
So
motion.
Marty's got a motion to approve the budget transfers. So we need a second?
Second.
Second by Meyer. Any other question or discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. In the reports, just be careful out this morning. All the low water crossings are closed. If you see water
Employee
over.
resolution,
The what?
employee resolution. For the road department?
We need to go to executive session.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just be careful. If you see water over the road, turn around. Don't try to drive through it. I guess y'all noticed on here, and the public needs to know, that we were given notice by Scott Waste that they would take the CPI of 8.93%, meaning that your quarterly residential bill will now be $44.51, and the commercial rate per yard will be $4.98. We don't have a say in this. Their contract allows them to take the CPI increase year over year. KSP Post 3 is looking for applicants for a 911 call center. And just for the record, although Joe Plunk was at our last meeting and talked about the Highway 100 project, I did receive a formal letter from the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet that absolutely is going to happen.
Great.
So we've got not only a verbal in the meeting, but a letter from the Transportation Cabinet saying it would happen. Myron, you have anything?
Only one thing, I've been getting quite a few calls with installation of our fiber optic. And I've asked people to be patient. And I did talk to a construction crew yesterday, and they're trying to leave things in better shape than they have in the past. And like Mason said, we've got low water we've got some crossings. Got a road flooded this morning on Witt Road that people need to be aware of.
Anything else?
That's it, I'm sorry.
Scott?
Yeah. No, sir.
Nate?
Yeah, with the park and rec update, the fall baseball and softball signups will begin in August. We will be offering a new pilot T-ball program to see how to improve spring league in 2023. And also the fall soccer signups are on the way. The FSU football signups are still going on. The point of contact is Eric Medley. You know, they had a weekend set, I think weekend before last, to sign up for the youth football. That had expired, but if you see Eric Medley, he will accept signups, probably all the way up until the season starts, which will be about the middle of July. And that's my report.
All right, thank you. Marty?
Yeah, according to Department of Local Government, June is the only month that a magistrate can bring up changes in administrative code for the county. And we've had some issues with this in the past. I'd like for to be voted on at the next meeting if we could get the wording straight where county employees cannot work for vendors. And that will, there's been questions on whether they could or couldn't. If we make it in, if we just put it in the administrative code, that makes it official. So at the next meeting, if we could, I'd like to vote on that. And also, I was been thinking over the last 3 or 4 days, and as high as this gas is, and I don't see it getting any cheaper. And I know we've talked about maybe doing employees won't go to the gym. You know, that was going to be $25 or $30 a month. I don't know exactly how we could do this, but you know, there's some employees that get to drive county home vehicles home, and other employees that don't. And for those employees that don't drive the county-owned vehicles home, if we could do like a $50 a month allowance as long as gas is over $4 a gallon. I know they just got a 7% increase in wages, but food is going up, gas is still going up. There's, you know, Scott Waste just sent a thing there, trash is going, everything is going up. we don't need to do it as a increase in pay. It needs to be a stipend somehow or another so that taxes don't be taken out of it. It's just, as long as gas is over $4 a gallon, the employees that drive a vehicle, have to drive their own vehicle to and from work, get a small gas allowance. Not to be voted on today, something for the court to think about. Maybe we could enact it July 1 at a new fiscal year. But I mean,
How would you enact something like that, Counselor?
I think it would have to be in your budget. I mean,
and maybe next meeting we'll know. I mean, I think there's about,
if you've approved one, then you have
We
to
can
do a
get the
budget.
number, we can get the number of county employees that do not drive a county vehicle back and forth to work. We can come up with that number.
And then you'd have to do a budget amendment.
But I guess the biggest question is, I mean, I'm okay with it, but what?
But I mean, that's gonna be part, I think you're gonna have a tough time saying that's not income. It's part of their compensation package.
you're going to have a tough time doing what?
I think would be considered part of their compensation and would be considered income.
That's the question I had. Could we do it as a stipend, or mileage? Or could we put it down as
You can call it all
mileage?
kinds of stuff. It has feathers, web, feet, and quacks.
But if you're basing it off the price of gas, you're not basing it off, I mean, I don't know. That's the reason I'm asking the question.
But I'm just saying, I still think,
Yes, it is an increase in compensation. It is increasing, but it's not increasing their pay for extra work. Or it's just compensating them for the poor policies that are in place right now causing gas to be so high.
and I don't say that's not inappropriate or we shouldn't do it. I'm just saying it's income.
And for the record, we didn't set those policies that caused gas to increase.
Yeah, I think, no offense, that's a little higher.
It is a lot higher than what we're.
Judge, I believe that's a little higher in your pay grade.
Yeah, that's out of my control.
But that's the two things I wanted to bring out.
Are y'all good with pursuing that, getting us a number of employees and what that cost will be and all that? Okay.
And the only other thing is, my normal is harvest time. Everybody watch farm equipment because I like to. I almost had a woman run right up under the tractor that I was moving the other day, and it was all I could do, and all she could do. She just paid no attention to the guy in front of me that had the lights on. And I think a whole lot of this is these guys that are mowing yards that are pulling a lawnmower trailer around. They run the caution lights on top of their truck, and it's kind of flooded the whole system. They're not pulling anything wide. There's no reason for them to be running them. But then people get so used to seeing them that when they do see somebody that is escorting a large piece of farm equipment, they pay no attention to it because they just see them all the time. So if you're not pulling something wide, don't run caution lights at all on top of your truck. But watch for the farm equipment. I don't have anything else.
Sheriff, you have anything? Charles, you have anything on the part of the jail?
Just day-to-day population, 200 state inmates as of today, 77 county
200 state?
states.
Bob, anything with emergency management? Carter, anything planning and zoning? Bill, anything with maintenance? Nelson, anything with fire department? Gentlemen, I need a motion and a second for executive session pursuant to KRS 61.810, paragraph 1F, personnel, discussions or hearings which might lead to the appointment, discipline, or dismissal of an individual, employee, or member.
So move.
Motion by Nate. Second. Second by Scott. All in favor, aye. Aye. All right, we'll take maybe a 5-minute.